I Wandered Lonely as a Crowd was written in 1804 by William Wordsworth. About the poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Crowd, also known as the Daffodil, and this poem is possibly be his most famous lyrical work. About the poet, William Wordsworth was born in 1770 and he died in 1850. He was an English romantic poet. For the structure of the poem, it is really very simple form and language. Four stanzas of 6 lines each make the entire poem 24 lines long. The rhyme scheme for each stanza is AB, AB, Z, Z. The poem, written in iambic tetrameter, for the tone of this poem is joyful and peaceful. And the next will be the analysis of stanza 1.
My name is Thitiya Wannakam. I would like to talk about the first stanza. I wander lonely as a crowd that floats on high of vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. The meaning of the first stanza. The speaker described how he walked alone without direction, and he felt lonely as a crowd. He used a crowd to compare with loneliness because cloud is in the sky and is usually float over landscape, hills, valleys, and people. Also, cloud might be lonely. Then the speaker saw a group of daffodils near the lake and the trees. Those flowers were fluttering and dancing in the soft wind that are blown. Sound devices. In the first line, the speaker uses alliteration in the word lonely. In the second line, the speaker uses alliteration in the word high, hills. In the third line, the speaker uses alliteration in the word when, once, or, at, a, and assonant in the word or, saw. In the fourth line, the speaker uses assonant in the word hot, golden, daffodil. In the fifth line, the speaker uses alliteration in the word beside, the, beneath, the, and assonant in the word beside, the, beneath, the, and trees. In the sixth line, the speaker uses assonant in the word fluttering, dancing, in, and consonant in the word fluttering, dancing. Figurative language. The outstanding figurative language in the first stanza is simile, personification, and imagery. In the first line, lonely as a crowd, comparison using at its simile. Comparison of a crowd to lonely human is personification. Also, the speaker uses imagery in the word lonely as a crowd to make the reader feel the same. In the third line, personification and imagery. The word crowd in this line means daffodil. The speaker compares flower to people, and the word crowd is used of imagery to make the reader feel the same. In the sixth line, personification, the speaker gives ability to flutter and dance to flower like human.
My name is Wannisa Assawaphoom. I would like to talk about the second stanza. The second stanza. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They staged in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Meaning and detail of the second stanza. The author describes about the comparing the daffodils to star in the sky. The author knows how the flowers seem to go on without ending, alongside a bay. The author guesses there are 10,000 or so daffodils, all of their heads moving as if they were dancing. Sound device. The outstanding sound device in the second stanza are alliteration and assonance. In the first line, alliteration are the and that. In the second line, alliteration are twinkle and milky. In the third line, assonance are they staged in never ending. In the fourth line, assonance are a long and a bay. In the fifth line, alliteration are at and at. And the sixth line, assonance are there and dance. Figurative language. In the first line, simile. Continue us at the star that shine. In the fifth line is overstatement. 10,000 saw I at a glance. And in the sixth line is personification, tossing their heads in spily dance.
My name is Parapaporn. I will talk about the third stanza analysis. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. The meaning of the third stanza is that even though the waves seemed to be dancing in the lake, the daffodils seemed happier and more joyful than those waves. As a poet, Wordsworth himself, he could not help being happy to have such a joyful company like the flowers. He gazed at them for a long time and did not realize exactly what the experience of sight the flowers had brought to him. The speaker depicted the first two lines to give readers a sense of joy and peace combined with the lively action of the flowers. Moreover, the speaker portrayed the effect of the flowers that had on him in the last two lines. Sound devices. In the first line, they are the uses of alliteration of th sound in the words the, them, they, and b sound in the words beside, but. In the second line, there is a use of assonance of e sound in the words did, sparkling, in. In the third line, there is a use of alliteration of b sound in the words but, be, and the use of consonants of t ending sound in the words poet, not, but. In the fifth line, there is a use of repetition of the word gazed. I gazed and gazed. In the sixth line, there is a use of alliteration of were sound in the words what, wealth, and the use of consonants of t ending sound in the words what, bought. Figurative language. There are the uses of personification in the first line that the poet gives the ability to dance to the waves as human. The second line, the poet gives the ability to feel glee to the flowers as human. And in the fourth line, the poet considered the flowers as his company, as human relationship.
My name is Waristhar Yamsoonthorn. I am going to talk about the fourth stanza. For of when on my couch I lie, and vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. The meaning of the fourth stanza. The poet describes about the dancing of daffodils and waves in his solitude. He said that from time to time when he has nothing to do, when his mind is vacant, he sees by his inward eye and imagination something which gives him pleasure. He remembers the happy dancing of the daffodils and waves while he is lying on his couch. As a result, he becomes happy and his heart is filled with pleasure and happiness. This can be done only in his solitude, which gives him chance to contemplate nature. Sound devices. In the first line, there is the use of assonance of I sound in the word my and lie. In the second line, there is the use of repetition of the word in vacant and in pensive. In the third line, there is the use of assonance of a sound in the word flat and that. In the fourth line, there is the use of assonance of e sound in the word is, bliss. In the fifth line, there is the use of assonance of e sound in the word with and feels. In the sixth line, they are the use of alliteration and assonance of d and e sound in the word dances and daffodil. Figurative language. In the third line, there is the use of metaphor. They flash upon that inward eye. Here, inward eye represents the sweet memory of daffodils. In the sixth line, there is the use of personification and dances with the daffodil. It shows that the poet are dancing with the daffodil in his mind.
For the conclusion, the major theme in this poem is the nature and humanity. The poem explores the relationship between nature and humanity, that human cannot separate from nature. The minor theme is the memory and imagination. The speaker brings back the experience in the past to write a poem. Moreover, the poet used the some word that make reader feel the same joy with the speaker, such as a crowd, Milky Way, and for the techniques of this poem is the first one, simile, the second one is metaphor, and the third one is personification, and the fourth one is alliteration, and the fifth is assonance, sixth is consonance, and the last one is repetition that are used in this poem. Furthermore, the poet used visual imagery to write the poem. Thank you for listening to our presentation.